Hello and welcome to the last episode of Airport CEO here on the channel. At least for this season. It is this season final and we are, as it is tradition, going to take a tour around the entire airport and really get a look and feel for what we have built over the last few months, what has worked, what hasn't, where have we stayed true to Geneva Airport, which is the airport that we have tried to recreate here, and where have we been, well, a little bit creative. So, I think the best place to start should actually be over at the general aviation area. Because, I mean, it's the fairly simple area that we created very much at the beginning of our rebuild here. And just as in real life, the general aviation area is in the game north of the airport. And of course has its own little runway. This is also very much like it is in real life. You have a few facilities over there, some aero clubs, a few small hangars and stuff like that. And I mean, apart from the aero clubs, we have pretty much recreated the infrastructure that you would find over there in real life. Then, of course, Geneva, famously, or maybe not, has a little Terminal 1, which, of course, many passengers don't know because normally they would just travel from Terminal 2. But Geneva Airport does have a Terminal 1, and that is basically a little historic building that is still in use today. And we have tried to recreate that as well. A fair warning, maybe I should mention that, is that our airport at many places is completely overrun. Especially, for example, I mean, you can maybe see it over here. We have a warning that passengers and employees are having trouble leaving the airport due to a lack of available transit structures. And I mean, that's the bus stops, for example, or the taxi stops and all that stuff. And well, with the amount of passengers coming in and out of the airport, there are just not enough of those. But also here we have basically tried to at least stick to what the airport has in real life and not overload our build here with all these stops. But I guess if you were to run this as a game, we desperately would need to build many more bus stops. But the Terminal 1 is a fairly simple one. It's one little building which serves 3 gates, and that's it. Passengers arrive, of course, here from the land side, go into the building here, then over to the right. We have the check-in area with the security checks, and then they pass into the gate areas. Fairly simple system here. We have the single boarding desk and an automated desk to reduce the amount of staff that we need here in the terminal. We have 2 staff rooms, one which is very crowded and one that apparently no one wants to be in for whatever reason. We do also have a shop, although I'm not sure. No, it doesn't have a contract at the moment, and we don't have anything that we can sign at the moment, so that's just how it is. Of course, passengers arriving from any aircraft here would then go through here to the baggage reclaim area. Yeah, fairly neat little system that we have created here, and then they leave through the security exit here and come back here into the hall where we have the check-in counters. So that's Terminal 1. So really very, very simply kept here, but it does, for the most part, actually work quite well, even though it is, despite having only 3 gates at times, very, very busy. Right now, not so much. Alright, so let's get over to the main attraction, I guess we could call it. It is Terminal 2. Of course, passengers here arrive at ground floor level, as that is the only option we have in the game. In real life, outbound passengers, so passengers leaving from Geneva Airport, would arrive at level +1, but we don't have that option, so we had just to kind of adapt it. That means that passengers arrive all down here. In real life, this would be where passengers are leaving the airport, and then we have these structures here with the escalators and the elevators, which they can use to go up to level +1, or they can enter the terminal building here as well. If I remember correctly, there should be some stairs here. No, I'm talking nonsense. See, I'm not even knowing my own build here. But anyway, passengers have the option of going up one level to the departure hall. This is of course the arrival hall where passengers are waiting for their loved ones to arrive, and but we will take a look at that a little bit later, because first let's take the trip for passengers that would be outbound passengers, so departing from Geneva Airport. So they go up to level +1, and here we then have the at least for our airport build, rather large check-in area. And yeah, from here we are serving all the gates that are connected to Terminal 2, which is the vast majority. And then again, passengers, after they have checked in their luggage, if they have any to be checked in, they again take the escalators one level up, or the elevators if they choose so. And then we arrive at level, if we get there, a little quick save. The game does struggle a little bit now because, I mean, you can already see how crowded it is. So frame rates sometimes are questionable, and also the save at the moment takes quite a long time. So we are really at the peak of what the game can do performance-wise. But anyways, passengers arrive here at level +2, and this is where we have our security checks. We do also, of course, have a few stores and a few arrangements where passengers again can sit down. And we also actually have, I mean, at least a restaurant. It's not quite the food court that you would see in real life, but at least we have it kind of indicated here with this one little restaurant. Anyways, passengers that are traveling out of our airport will then go through these security checks. We have made sure that we have plenty of security checks. Probably a little bit a larger scale than in real life, but not far off, I would guess. And from there, passengers then immediately go one level down again. So let's go one level down to level +1. And now, of course, they are inside the security check and also security zone. And of course, you can see how very, very crowded this is. Extremely crowded. I have experienced Geneva Airport being very crowded, but of course never at those levels. We don't have much space, you can see that. And yeah, this gives us really the effect of sardines in, yeah, well, anyways. Very, very crowded. But we of course also have a few things here for passengers. I mean, we have the most basic things. We have some shops, we have bathrooms, of course, staff rooms across this part of the terminal as well. And if passengers would like to go to a lounge, they can actually also do that. For that, they need to go one level up. And this is where we are over here. They can go one level up. And then we have a lovely area with a lot of lounges. Yeah, it's actually not too bad. I mean, let's see who's... This lounge seems fairly busy. This was the CH Air Lounge. Here we have the Aegean Lounge. That's also quite popular. This is the Swiss Lounge, which is surprisingly empty. But alright. So yeah, basically here passengers have a few lounges. Of course, as with the Geneva Airport, the Terminal 2 is not just this one little part here, or this fairly straight building, but we do also have quite a few other areas from where passengers can depart when they have entered Terminal 2. For that we need to go to the other end of the terminal, where we, by the way, also have a little food court with 2 restaurants, and of course we have another rather large lounge, which also seems to be pretty much abandoned. I think we also assigned this one to Swiss. So Swiss passengers apparently don't like to go to the lounge. Alright. And another very, very busy staff room. Alright. But anyways, passengers also, of course, can depart here from Terminal 2 from remote stands. For those, or to reach those, they need to go one level down again, which you can see quite a few passengers are doing. And then we would arrive down here. Here we have, again, we're serving 6 remote stands, and if we go one level further down, we are actually serving a few more remote stands, 3 in total here, although I think 2 of those are for wide bodies. But there are just a few more if you go one level up again. No, actually, let's just stay down here, because this is where we have the -1. It's a little bit complicated, but passengers would arrive down here, and from there they can then again enter this little, this is the last thing we built actually, last episode, where we then again have a departure hall for 6 further remote stands. Alright, but that's actually not it, because if passengers are departing from Terminal 2, they do also have the option of departing to international destinations. This is all Schengen. But if they want to go to international destinations, they need to go to the other end of the terminal here and to this escalator. This is very, very important. This is where they can basically connect up to our east wing. We have another terminal here, but that is something else, and we will talk about that later in the video. Okay, so passengers go up here and then they pass through this area here, and then they basically pass over the little terminal that we just hinted at. Here we have the passport checks, so they can enter the international zone, and from here they then have to pass down 1 level again. Alright, let's just go there, and now we have entered the east wing. This is the international terminal of Geneva Airport. Of course, there are some minor differences to the real East Wing. The East Wing, as far as I could make out, does not really have shops around. We have added those. But they do use quite a lot of like areas with different colors. As we have seen mainly actually with the benches and on the roof. But as we don't really have a roof in the game, we just added it to the floor. But it kind of gives the same little effect here. One thing that of course does not have, or the airport does not have in real life, is here actually to have a separate security exit. We had to build this because our airport was getting a little bit overloaded. Here passengers that do not need to recover any luggage can leave the security zone if they just take the escalator down here. And you can see there are actually also quite a few doing it. I don't know why these passengers always seem to end up like struggling after they've left here. They just stay here for a while and then they leave. I don't know why they do that. Because there should be nothing here. No obstacles, anything, but that's just how it is. Anyways, passengers can leave, although they sometimes do take a little bit of time. And since we're down here as well, we also have a few remote stands here that are served by these gate areas. 6 remote stands. And this area, of course, again here with this escalator we have up here. And yeah, so that is our east wing. Almost, because again, we also have these escalators here on the back side of the building. And they lead passengers to level 2. And here we have lounges. And we should also have a restaurant, which we have here. So that is then the East Wing, which serves our wide-body international traffic. Now, in between the East Wing and Terminal 2, I mean, the East Wing is basically also Terminal 2. It is zoned in as Terminal 2, but in between that, we have Terminal 3. In real life, that is not called Terminal 3, but it is called the French Zone. I've talked about it over the season, that Geneva Airport is situated right at the border between Switzerland and France, of course on the Swiss side. But because of that and many other reasons, there is a French customs area within the airport that can only be reached from the French side, which allows the airport to basically handle French internal flights. And we couldn't just call it the French zone here. We had to basically zone it in so that it would work. So therefore it became Terminal 3. And here we are handling Air France flights from. Now in this terminal, it's a little bit different than the other ones. Passengers here arrive on a specific or special road. This is basically also how it would be in real life, although it is not on the ground. But we had no space left, so we had to do that. But here passengers arrive and then come into this terminal building. We have the check-in counters again, and passengers then go 1 level up. Now again, because it is a game and to make sure that things work, we have also actually built an access here to the land side so that passengers coming from other areas can still enter this terminal, because we can't completely lock it off from the rest of the game areas here, because passengers sometimes arrive at the wrong terminals, and that is outside of our control. But you can see also here, quite a popular area. Alright, so passengers then come up here from the check-in counters and can then go straight through security and then one level up. This terminal, also like Terminal 1, serves 3 stands. And here we then again have the usual combination of shops, although this does not have a contract, let's assign one straight away. Bathrooms, staff rooms, and of course benches around the gate areas. So that is Terminal 3. Now we of course also have the satellite terminals. The satellite terminals are connected up with Terminal 2. 2 of those are international stands and 1 is Schengen. So let's go over here. Now these are of course connected to Terminal 2 via tunnels. So passengers, let's see how I can show you this the best way, because I think this is a little bit confusing. So let's go one level up again. So, and perhaps one level more, because then I can show you. So basically at each end, passengers can reach an underground area. For example here, let's go down here at the very end. Here we have an escalator, and if passengers choose to go down here, they arrive in this little area that is kind of boxed off from the rest, and then they can go straight one level down again. And this is then where they arrive into our tunnel system. From here they can then enter the tunnel. Again, real life, this area would not exist, this departure hall would not exist, but we placed it here for space reasons. But anyways, they would then be able to take a tunnel down here all the way over here and arrive at one of the satellite terminals. In real life they are round, but of course this game is square based, so we can't really build round structures. I mean, you could in a way, but it doesn't work for a structure like this, and especially also not if we want to have stands right at the building. Now this one is fairly simple because it just has one level. Passengers come up here, we have a shop, and we have the gate areas. Simple, easy, nothing to really worry about. This is the Schengen area we have. Now the 2 other satellite terminals are a little bit different. You can already see it, they are quite a bit more, well, crowded in a way. Because we have added a bunch of escalators. Now why have we done that? Well, it is because these 2 satellite terminals do have jet bridges. They have that here in the game, and they have it in real life. And so somehow we needed to get passengers up to level +1, because that's where the jet bridges are. In real life you do also go up some stairs, so you can enter the jet bridge. So that is pretty much like in real life. Although I don't remember it being escalators, I think it's just stairs, but stairs in the game take more space, so we use the escalators. These of course are also international stands, so from here you can fly out into the world. And this is actually also something, this is rather crowded as you can see, but this is also very much like in real life. These areas, or these small satellite terminals, do get very, very crowded, because they handle much larger aircraft today than when the satellite terminals were originally constructed. So in a sense they are just completely overloaded in real life and also here in the game. Alright, so I would also like to quickly take a look at what the airport looks like for passengers that arrive here, and for that example I would take one of the remote stands. Now obviously passengers would come in here with the aircraft and be picked up by bus. The bus would then bring them to one of the areas where we are serving the remote stands from. These up here, if I remember correctly, should not be exactly. They're not international, so they would also be served from our building, which we have all the way over here. Frame rate is struggling. passengers would arrive around this area here with their bus. And from here they would then, if they're arriving up here, or if they are arriving one level down in this area, of course here they go up, come up here, and then go over here, and would go down again, because they then again need to enter this tunnel system that we have. And this tunnel system is fairly like in real life. I mean, there is basically passengers would come in with the buses and then go immediately one level down and then enter a rather long tunnel where they then basically are connected up. All the different areas would then end up more or less in the same area, where they then could enter like this massive hall where you have all the baggage reclaim areas. So this is very much inspired by real life. You do also have around these entrances where the passengers are leaving these tunnels a shop or multiple shops. And yeah, so this is very much inspired by that. Also, like the thing is, in this whole in real life, I mean, the baggage reclaim areas or the baggage belts would look fairly much like this structure here. So luggage coming from underground and then leaving or entering like the circular elongated baggage belts. We have been a little bit more creative over here and used a little bit of a different system, but in real life pretty much all baggage belts, if not all of them, would be in this kind of configuration. We have of course had to add a few more through the build, because we extended our airport a little bit more than originally planned, but this is very much inspired by real life. In real life, however, this would not be underground anymore. I guess the airport is built on a slope, because while the tunnels do seem to be underground, this area kind of enters then on ground floor level. In this case we couldn't do that, so here we then have these escalators. Passengers can go one level up, and from here they then would arrive up here, where they can then leave the airport. And this is again like this waiting area. This is pretty much like we would have in real life, although in real life there would also be other things than just shops. There would be car rental stations and all stuff like that, which we don't have in the game, so obviously we couldn't construct it here. I think one thing we could also quickly take a look at is our luggage system, which is a little bit, I mean, it's not super complicated, but we have really tried to utilize the space we have to the best of our abilities. So obviously we have these check-in counters, which are picking up the luggage, and all the luggage is going down one line here behind these check-in counters, across the entire building, all the way over here, and then meeting up right here. And from this point the luggage is then taking a little trip one level down, and then immediately one level further down to level -1. And here of course we then have all the security scanners, so that the luggage that will go on an aircraft is safe. We have talked about this many times throughout the season. After it has passed the security checks, the scanners, it reaches this little point here, which is, I guess, the most important part, because from here everything is distributed to the various baggage bays that we have across the build. But we actually also have inbound luggage, so luggage coming from an aircraft that has just arrived, for example from this baggage bay, would go up here and cross this point. So here basically inbound and outbound luggage is crossing each other, so we really utilize these tilt trays to their full capacity and ability. We of course also have then the luggage that is arriving, this then here distributed to these various baggage reclaim areas, but we of course also have a few more baggage bays over here. Again, this is all connected up and works rather nicely, I must say. The only systems here that are not connected up are actually the baggage system for terminals 1 and 3. They are completely independent from the rest of the airport, but again here over we have these baggage bays which are part of terminal 2 and connected up with the rest of this System. Of course, underground we also have quite a few other infrastructures. We utilize the ability of building these vehicle depots underground. Saves us a lot of space, and we can build them much closer to where GSE is needed. So that's also rather practical, because it reduces the time a GSE needs to spend driving to and from tasks. So yeah, overall I would say, I mean, there are of course areas where we have been very creative, but overall, like the concept of the airport, I think we have actually stuck quite close to the real thing. We've also basically, for example, tried to split up inbound and outbound passengers. In real life, they do not mix. So for example, here you can see when passengers come in through this jet bridge, they immediately are led away from the rest of these areas. There are unfortunately some areas where they can mix, but unfortunately we just can't completely split up these passenger groups. For that, we would need a few more tools in the game. For example, one thing which would be very awesome if we could ever have it would be one-directional doors. I've mentioned it many times before, but a door where passengers can only go through in one direction, but not like the security exit, because obviously I don't want to have passengers leaving security zones all the time, but one-directional doors that can be placed anywhere, and that would really help out building airports like this. But for the most part, I think we have actually stayed quite close to the original, at least as close as possible that the game would allow us to do so. Alright, one thing of course we have also had to work with was the fact that Geneva Airport, at least for passenger aircraft, for commercial aircraft, only has one runway. But despite that, and we do have, I mean, quite a lot of traffic coming in, but despite that, I must actually say, yes, for example, you can see here we have a little bit of a queue, and we have also seen queues that are quite a bit longer than this. But the airport doesn't seem to have been collapsing because of that. I'm sure the airport would run even better if we built a second runway, but I'm actually surprised how well it has handled the fact that we only have one runway. Yeah, so overall I'm really happy with this build. I'd be happy to hear what you think about it. Do you think we have stayed true to the spirit of Geneva Airport? Have we been a little bit too creative? Let me know in the comment section below. And most importantly, I haven't quite decided yet if I will make a Season 6. I have an idea to something we could rebuild, but I'm very much open at the moment for suggestions. So if you have any ideas of an airport that you would like to see rebuilt, then now is the time to really leave that in the comment section below, so I can take a look at that, and perhaps I will find something that I say I just have to build that. And in that case, there will be a 6th season of Airport CEO here, the channel. But with that, it is really time to end this season and the video, of course. I can only say thank you very much for all the support you've shown me throughout this season. It has been a huge pleasure. Geneva Airport, an airport close to my heart. I have spent many years there, basically in Geneva, and this has been my home airport for 4.5 years. So I've been doing a lot of traveling from this airport. So trying to rebuild this as close to reality as possible has been quite a lot of fun for me. So yeah, with that, thank you very much for watching. Hope to see you soon again. I'm checking out, and bye.
Alright, thank you.